church? The reason I'm pausing here is because for black folks, church is a big deal. Some even say the term Sunday best came from slaves having one good outfit their owners bought them for church. To be fair, we kinda ran with it. And ran, and ran, and ran.
Oh, man. Okay. Sunday's Best Podcast. We on the Green Room Flex today, man. We on the Green Room today. We got a very special guest. I love the way that this came together. I love the way that things get last minute. People can accommodate. 100%. I got the one and only. I got Jetset in the building. I'm in Jetset's building, actually. We're at Rivoli right now. We're in the, you pronounce it differently.
I say Rivoli. Yeah, it's
Rivoli,
yeah.
Tomato, jalapeno, jalapeno, you know. We do our thing. So we are right now. I watched him do his sound check. First, I honestly want to give like a little context of how it came to be.
Yeah.
Let's just put out there, Jetset's put a new album, and this is his album release party.
Of course.
Yeah.
This is why we're here.
This is the album release party for Jetset's album, but I just want to give a little bit of the background info. You know, I've always known Jetset to be putting on these showcases, which we'll get into as well. Was always on my radar. Saw that he was putting out an album this week or like a few days ago. It wasn't that long ago, right?
No, yeah, it was Tuesday actually.
It was Tuesday. I remember listening to it the day it came out and just being like, wow. Okay.
Now you guys are gassing
I need to no. I need to hear this live first of all, and I need to get this guy on the podcast because he's been doing so much for the city and he's making quality, great music too. So it's like, thank you for making the time. You know, like
100%.
Kick everybody out the room and everything.
Yeah.
So like,
sometimes you gotta have a moment, you know. And days like this are full of moments. That's what it is.
So Jetset, the departure. You're on tour right now.
Good buzz.
You know, a lot of musicians could only dream to be sometimes in the position that you're in. How does that happen? How does point A from point B to start? Even the music. How did you get into that at first?
So music. Well, I first started getting into music. I was making beats actually, and that kind of translated into me working with one of my boys from high school, and I would make his beats. And then I ended up, you know, kind of featuring on a song here and there, writing a hook for him here and there, and that just eventually translated into me making my own records, and you know, putting out my own product in a sense. So it's definitely been like I've been making music for almost a decade at this point, which seems crazy to me. But again, just the whole Jetset aspect of it has probably only come around in the last 2 years, let's say. But there's definitely even like a whole backstory. I don't even know if Pavle was around at that point, but
I don't know there's
that's
Stefan,
right. Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Like I remember when I came to the first Uncrowned showcase, you were kind of like, "Oh, this is my boy Stefan. He writes like for Hip Hop Canada,
right?
and he's a singer too." You know, I remember watching you do the sound check. Then I'm like, "Okay, boy, got a nice voice.
Crazy.
You know, we'll see what comes of that."
And I remember that show actually. That was the first show you came to. Yeah, I rember that show.
It was a dope show. You had some dope acts on there.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, you've really made it come full circle. I also wanted to know, Jetset. Why Jetset?
So the name that I went by in my past life was just a nickname that was given to me in high school, and it was Calibrew. That's still like my personal Instagram page and shit like that. But essentially, I kind of knew that I needed something that was bigger than just my high school nickname, like something that had a brand attached to it, something that I could build a little bit bigger. And aside from that, like I've always number one, lived a bit of a fast-paced life, and that's part of it. My mom has always worked for an airline, so I've been able to travel a lot. That's part of it. And a lot of the times my music reflects travel, adventure, those jet experiences when you're, when you're traveling, when you're living life.
I was gonna say, because like your music is very like I was in a bad mood on Tuesday. No, seriously,
it all came together.
I'd be stressed out, booking people for podcasts. I show up at the venue and then they're performing and don't want to do a podcast.
Shots fired.
Shut up, I didn't win.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Shut up, my boys. You guys are gonna get on here one day.
100%.
But I was in a shitty mood. Listening to your album was like, you know what? Let me give the kid a chance. Let me see. He's been doing lots for the city, and yeah, like I said, I was blown away with it. It's very happy. It's very uplifting. I found it improved my mood. So it's like,
wait, is this your first album?
I was trying to turn up after.
This is my my first album, yeah, and even back before it was Jetset, I never had released a project. So this is like, past life, new life, whatever you want to call it. This is definitely like the first body of work that's been.
So
put
what's
out.
like the process between like just putting out singles and actually putting together like a body of work?
Because that is a big like jump. I feel like a lot of artists don't know how to execute properly, and it looks like you're doing it better than majors out there. Yeah.
A lot of it it's definitely different. It's a really crazy, surreal feeling, to be honest with you. Like, releasing singles is fun, and people react to them a certain way. But when you give them a body of work that they have an actual, like, if you put out one song, you're either forced to like it or not like it. Mm-hmm. If you put out a project, people are forced to now experience the music a different way. Mm-hmm. So when you have a project that evolves with, down tempo stuff, faster paced stuff, acoustic stuff, kind of a variety of different sounds and dynamic, like, I think that's kind of one of the biggest, things that for me was really special, because I had people that came up to me, they're like, yo, I really love this song, or I really love this song, or I really love the acoustic version, whatever it is. And you know what I mean? That was definitely like a special part of this.
I say that too. It's like dope that you have like those acoustics, like because you have those like banger tracks that like slap in the club, or like you got like you're saying a lot of dope stuff on there too. But I even saw you rehearse it, like the acoustic, that stuff. Keeping it crazy, keeping it wide, like but I feel like you have a lot of potential too.
I appreciate that.
I feel like you're a happy guy. Are we ever gonna get some of those sappier, ballads? Are you gonna a little
softer?
Do girls not break your heart or something?
I mean, the biggest thing for me, I guess, like, again, a lot of my music is taken from personal experiences and shit like that, and it's definitely like I put all myself into it. For me, it's just like, I don't know what it is.
There's just no girl is tying you down. Is it
no, it's not even. It's not that.
Tell us your secret.
It's not even that at all. It's just more of like, I feel like writing about girls isn't necessarily like the best epitome of like who I am. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'd rather give you a song about like my family and like what I'm going through personally day to day, with even like, again, the acoustic song, you got really personal moments in there that not even like some of my closest friends know about what's going on at home and shit like that, right? So you've got like moments like that, and I'd rather showcase that than talk about like, I don't know, girls, or even just being sad. I don't know. Like, it's just me. It's just more me.
Especially,
I have a hard time seeing you as a sort of like.
I'm not like.
I don't know if I can see it, but I was interested because I think you have the range in your voice to be doing those types of songs.
I could definitely like.
So like, I'm interested. What will be coming next then?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely.
Because you're in the middle of a tour and an album release and everything.
Can we talk about how the tour is like?
Yeah. How does that come to be, a tour?
So. Okay, I'm really fortunate in the sense that like I've been able to build some really solid relationships, and with that said, so the tour kind of comes in two parts. Essentially, my boy LJ, who's performing today as well, and he's a big reason why I'm one of the biggest reasons why I'm on tour.
Shout out LJ.
Now. Shout out LJ. LJ's the fucking man. Just so everybody knows, he's the fucking man. But yeah, so there's really two parts of it. Number one was LJ has a crazy college fan base. To the point where people just love him and idolize the guy, and they'll come out to see him. So he was already organizing his own tour. We went to Kingston with him last year. It was crazy, 500-600 people. They know every single word, right?
Wow.
And me, on my aspect, I could bring some of the more political dates to the table just because I had these relationships through Uncrowned, through Hip Hop Canada, whatever it is, and just all the hats that I wear. So the tour was, again, a two-part piece where LJ was able to organize a lot of the college dates. I was able to organize the dates like New York. There's even some dates that are still coming up. Chicago we got.
Wow.
Toronto, obviously. This is our show here today. But yeah, there's a couple, you know what I mean? It's just more about building solid relationships. And one of the biggest goals for me, especially like I was saying, how I've been making music for a long time. And, for me to say that is one thing, but if I've been making music for a long time, I've never been on tour, and I've never released an album, am I really making music? Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, if I'm in this, I've been in this for so long, I'm going to start doing things properly. I'm going to release the project. I'm going to do a tour. I'm going to figure out how I can go to other cities and bring this. And that's been a part of my strategy so far, like in terms of marketing and shit.
Seems to be working.
Yeah, just building bases in different cities, because like, right now I can go to New York and I know that I got guys to hit up, no problem. I can get shows out there. I can just go link with them, whatever it is. Same thing in Chicago. I got, a bunch of great artists out there that I can go and connect with, producers, whoever it is. And it's like, for me, just building those, little bases, those little foundations that I can bring them out here. We can go over there, and you know what I mean? It just all works.
Do you like being on the road? Like, do you like the whole
I love
travel,
it.
Yeah?
I love it. I could do it no problem. I could do it no problem.
Like, you could live on the road,
it was a greasy, so our in the first leg, we went Waterloo. We had Waterloo on Thursday, New York on Saturday. And obviously, like, we're working on very minimal budget. Like, there's not really much that goes into this. There's no tour bus. There's no hotels paid for. There's no nothing, right? So,
still tour, though.
Yeah, it's still tour, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is, 100%. Tour life. So, like, we went Thursday, Waterloo. I wanted to go straight from Waterloo to New York, like, right after the show. Like, hey, guys, let's just pack up and go.
Make a stop at Phil's.
Right. Yeah, right. We made a stop at Brixton, to be honest. We ended up going to Brixton.
Shout out Brixton.
Shout out Brixton and Brad Souza. But, yeah, so, you know, we went show, then we went to Brixton. We ended up passing out on a couch for, like, 2-3 hours, and then drove to New York. The drive was, like, 10 hours. There were 6 of us staying in a hotel room. Me and my brother, I'm more than comfortable sleeping on the floor. Like, give it to me every time, no problem. But, like, I could do that. Like, me and my brother even spoke about it after we were coming back from New York. I said, bro, if we would have been there for another 2 weeks, even grinding it out and just, you know what I mean? Like, that's why we're here. Like, we always make this joke, like, that's what I signed up for. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to do it, and I'm ready to go.
That's dope to hear.
Wow, like, you know, I get a lot of people on the show. I get creatives. I get influencers and stuff like that. You're determined, eh? You're like hungry with this shit, and that's really like inspiring, like to see. Also, you know, real quick before we get off the tour stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I imagine, you know, as a reflection of your music too, your music's really fun. You have a lot of great stories in there. You have any crazy tour stories that have you encountered yet?
Stories.
There's a lot of club stories. No groupies on my end. Yeah, LJ's got pure groupies though. Shout out LJ, like, for real. Like, he's got people like in Montreal. I mean, like, it's not even necessarily that standard of a story, but for me, it was just hilarious.
This was like last night?
This was on Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we showed up to the venue at 9:30. Doors were supposed to open at 10. And for like an hour and a half, there was nobody there. We're like a little bit chipping out, like, what's going on? Like, is this gonna work? Like, are we here? We ended up like standing outside the venue for another like 10 minutes, and these 4 girls came up, and they looked at us like, and LJ wasn't there at the time. He was still at his base. So she's like, yo, is LJ here? I'm like, no, not yet. She's like, he's going to be here though, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I need to meet him. I'm like, okay. She's like, are you guys his friends? Yeah. Do you know what time he's going to be here? Yeah, babe, he'll be here at like 11:30. Like, okay, like, so I got time to like go and come back? I'm like, yeah. She's like, do you know what door he's coming out of? Like, we'll probably walk through the front door and go to the venue.
Jeez, saying LJ got that clout like that.
So that was crazy. I mean, a couple other funny stories, I guess. I got, like, are you saying just tour specifically or just, like, the whole spectrum of, like, what's going on? Because I got a good story that I can share.
What I was saying, you know, I talked to a lot of artists that are determined about what they do. None of them are on tour.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so none of them have what you have going on.
I mean, like,
so I'm interested to hear anything.
I could tell you guys a pretty wild story about when we went to LA. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we went down there. Here, we'll let this lad come in quickly.
Absolutely.
Here, open up for him, and then we'll get into this.
Gucci.
All right. So, I mean,
so we were getting into those crazy tour stories you were about to mention.
So, I mean, this wasn't on tour per se, but this was last year. We were in LA just for some sessions. And I was actually down there with one of my boys from here. His name is Major Lewis. And we met up with a producer from Atlanta named Trey. Shout out Trey, what it do. So it's me, my brother, Lewis, and Trey, 4 of us. We were all staying together. I had never met Trey before. This was the first time I'd met him. And I had known Louis for a while, too. He's dope people. But essentially what ended up happening was on the second day that we were there, we had somebody... Trey got a message on his phone with a picture of our Airbnb. It was the front of it from a random number that says, "You better get out of town."
Whoa!
And we were sitting there thinking, like, what? I could swear.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? He looks at me. He's like, yo, do you know whose number this is? I'm like, bro, you got the message. I didn't get the message.
People trying to stop the bag out here for you guys. Oh, my God.
We asked him, we're like, do you know who these people are? Like, who would send you this message? Like, you know what I mean? And, again, we're in a different city at this point. Like, if this is in Toronto, like, I can call people. Like, not to play it like that, but, like, if it's in home court, like, you can do.
You're not goons in Toronto, but you're not in Toronto.
I'm not in Toronto, so like that's a next level world. So that was definitely an experience, and we figured out who it was afterwards, and they were not good people, and we left. So we went.
Yeah, you're like your number and knew where you
so
were and stuff.
Again, without saying too much, my boy was out there 2 weeks prior, and he was paid to be out there. And at the end of the week, they wanted to sign him, to which he said, "Hey, I need to, check this out on my own to make sure this is good." And they're like, "No, this is like a now or no deal." And he's like, "Oh, well, I can't do it then." They're like, "Well, don't ever come back to LA again." And he was there 2 weeks later.
That's fucked.
Well, if they took it to that extent, you probably don't want to sign with someone
like
that.
I'm not going to say who the people were, but it was like, you don't want to mess with these people.
That's so fun.
Like, when you think about LA, it's like you don't want to really touch these guys.
Record labels in LA are on some gangsta death row shit.
More of like
you don't
gangsta
sign
death
with
row,
us.
less of label. Not like Universal Music.
Does not sound like how a label should be operating.
So that was definitely a story. I mean, like, again, like, tour's always a blast. There's always like fun shit. Even like the drives were sick. We got stopped at the border. We thought we were gonna be like detained.
Don't tell them you smoke weed, by the way.
It's funny because I actually don't smoke weed.
He doesn't smoke weed.
I don't smoke. It's fucked up.
Jetset, you don't smoke weed?
People look at me like I'm
good
crazy.
For you.
I drink a lot though.
Good for you though.
I drink a lot. You good? Yeah. You're good. What do you have there? I'm just doing an interview quick. All right, I'll be out in 2 seconds. Is that your pad thai? Oh, my pad thai. Okay. Yeah.
Jetset got pad. Yeah, no. Well, Jetset got pad thai out there waiting for him.
I just want to know, like it's awesome doing the tour and stuff, but I'm really interested to see what your take is on like the sort of collective Toronto community and like putting together shows, and so just it's kind of like the attitude of people and trying to get people to come together. And
I just wanted to add to that too, because it's interesting. I've had this conversation with a few people, and it's always, does Toronto support each other? There's no infrastructure. As a guy that wears many hats, that puts on shows for people, that puts out his own music, that you've been describing how you network with people. I'm very interested to hear your take on that. Exactly.
So, I guess I have like a pretty, I don't want to say bias, but like I am well versed in that. I'm gonna look over there. Yeah. Wait, should I keep going? Or should so like in that aspect of the infrastructure and support of Toronto, like I definitely think that we're making a lot of strides, and it's cool because even like on a day like today, where I know that I can count on like a bunch of the boys, past performers, past show collaborators that are either we've done stuff in the past or we're looking to do stuff now. So I definitely think we're at a good point. Again, the way I see Toronto though, and even Canada as a whole, I guess, is there's different bubbles, and not to say that it's like not even cliques or say it's more of like bubbles. So like you've got like the uncrowned artists and the uncrowned infrastructure in a sense can be seen as one segment of Toronto culture, right? And Toronto music. So we've got, again, like a bunch of these guys I've known for 3-4 years, and like I see them, fairly often. Again, LJ I met through Uncrowned. He reached out to us, and now we're on tour together. You know what I mean? Like Creo, Michael Gannon, like they use the studio that we have up in Dufferin and Eglinton. So like I think it's like within these segments of Toronto, there's a lot of love, but for it to kind of extend a little bit. Actually, you know what, bro?
Talk your shit.
Yeah. No. I'm on a completely positive note, like because that's how I am. I've seen some crazy shit in the last little bit. That rhymed. Even like, for example, yesterday, I've got Bodie, who is LJ's producer, in my studio with Lil Beretti and London Sire from the Can't Say Travis Scott song. So like, I can't even say that there's bubbles, because you've got Bodie, who's part of my world, London, who's part of Travis Scott's world, and Beretti, who's part of his own world, and they're all at the studio together for 12 hours. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a lot of cool shit that happens. I think that a lot of the problems stem from people who seek a selfish benefit. Opportunists, as opposed to people who do it because they love to do it. Yeah. So, for example, Uncrowned was really started as a platform because I couldn't get shows back in the day. And when I couldn't get shows, I was like, you know what? There's probably a lot of other people who can't get shows right now. So let's come together. We'll run our own fucking show, and it'll be better than everybody else's. And that's kind of like what we've been able to develop, you know what I mean, in a sense, where we don't have cloudy names for the most part. We've had a 1-2 bigger act, let's say, in the past.
You guys are artists. You guys are real artists.
Yeah,
you're
100%.
Doing your thing out there, yeah.
And it's like, I think that's the beauty of it, too, is if you're in with genuine intentions, anyone in the city is going to be able to work with each other. You know what I mean? Like, Bodie and Beretti, being together at the studio, a little, like, the studio is a tiny little box. You know, I love it to death. It's nice to tell, but, like, it's just a small 500 square foot space, and you've got Beretti,
Getting the right people.
Talk about the studio a little bit, like how the whole, like, I don't know, mission behind it.
Yeah, like, so we got a studio called Crendon at Dufferin and Eglinton, and it's home, like, you know what I mean? Like, again, it's really one of those places that we strive to keep it an open house, an open door for the most part for people that want to be able to come through. You know, and there's guys, like I said, like Bodie, LJ, that'll come through consistently. They'll do their thing. Michael's always in there. And it's just another one of those ways that we can kind of keep the family close. And, you know, even as a operator of Uncrowned, it's like I can see who's really working and who can be put together in the same room and how they can develop. And that's what's really cool about it.
Of course.
To be honest, I might even pull one of those and, like, not be in the venue. Because, like, that's what my brother was saying. He's like, he's like, this is your show. Like, if you want to make it you want it to be impactful. You don't want it to be like, oh, yeah, I'm at Rivoli again. You know what I mean? We got the full drums. We got the full setup. And it's like, even that, he's like, you should just leave at the end of the show. Like, not even in an egotistical way, more of like a make people perceive that, hey, this is a big fucking deal. Yeah, like, this is not, you're not coming to see your boy anymore. Yeah. That you're coming to see somebody that you actually listen to their music and you like them, and you know what I mean. Like, that's kind of, I think, the biggest separation is: are you coming here to see your boy, or
to see a show?
Are you here to see a show, right? And like that was too when I went from Calibre to Jetset. That was one of the moments where I was like, "Yo," a lot of people were like, "Yeah, this is my boy, haha, this is cool," but when it was Jetset, it's like, "Oh shit, no, I like the music. I listen to the music for what it is." You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I think that's like also just a very like difficult thing to create that separation and whatnot.
For sure, 100%.
Before we get off Toronto rappers and start to wrap up, who are your favorite artists out of Toronto right now? Would you say?
See, I'm so biased, but
that's okay.
I love Beretti. I think Beretti's dope. I love LB. I think LB's great.
LB's dope.
Again, like all the boys, like LJ is probably one of my favorite artists from the city. I listen to him consistently, like. Not even just because we're friends, like I actually just love his music. So he's definitely something cool. I'm just trying to think of something that's gonna throw you guys off guard. That's like, oh, that's a weird one. But honestly, man, like yeah, like again, there's definitely a lot of people that are doing their thing. And because I have the studio and I have that ability to have people around me as well, like I have opportunities to connect with the music a lot differently. Like, there's songs that I know that Michael has, for example, that they're not even out yet, but I'm like, that's a great song, and it's really cool. But I can't even say he's my favorite yet because you guys haven't heard the song. So I can't be like, oh, yeah, you know that song he dropped? Because it's not. But, like, Michael's sick. Tahir's dope. Uptown's sick. You know, all the boys, Pierre Farrow's, like,
Uptown's
crazy.
Cool,
Way Cool. Like, Kyle's got a song, Money, Money, Money. It's a freestyle. Way Cool's sick. That Kyle's It Was Never Summer EP was dope. You know what I mean? The 4-track there. So, yeah, definitely, like, I have bias. And I do listen to a lot of Toronto as it is.
Awesome.
I've noticed, like, most, like, venues, the sound check guys are always, like, the coolest.
Yeah.
We had one guy who was the worst human being possible. I'm not lying to you, to the point where he was looking at the artist and saying, can everybody shut the fuck up or get out of here? And I looked at him and I was like, you can't say that to these people. If you want to yell at me, you can yell at me, but you're not going to yell at all these people. Because if I had, let's say I had Kanye West in the room and the sound tech said to him, can you shut the fuck up? He would have gotten cracked. Yeah. How can you say that to people? You know what I mean? And he was just, money. Yeah. It's not even that. It's just like, this isn't an office job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a cool environment. It's a casual environment. You got people that are here that, creatives. You know, this could be their first show. And you're going to go up and tell somebody, can you shut the fuck up? Like, who the hell are you?
That's not want to make them like
do better, sound guys.
That actually might have been the day when you were here.
Oh, really?
What show was that? Like, that the first show that you were
to. Said the Native was on that card.
Okay, no, that was a different one then. That was the fourth one. That was the Juice Box one.
Yeah, I think so. Fuck. Yeah.
Love the guy now, but that was a stressful day.
Yo, Jetset be going through it, dealing with all you fucking Toronto artists, man.
I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah,
giving you guys opportunities, giving you guys shows, giving you guys studio time. Fuck, bro. They're gonna have to say thank you one day.
I don't think they can hear this, but Bodie remixed one of the tracks, and it's fucking hard.
Is this it?
This is it. Don't waste my time with the drums, because I produced the original one. There's only a kick and a hat. There's no snare, no nothing. And he came and just, like, bodied it. I almost wish I used this version for the album.
Oh, they can hear this.
Yeah.
very well. I'm gonna have to wait for it.
in there, right?
World premiere.
Right?
World premiere. Anyways, real quick before someone kicks down the camera with the door. We had Jetset here for, just for a little bit. And, from the little bit, I've learned a lot about you. You're a very focused guy. You're very determined. You got a good head on your shoulders with this. You seem to really know what you're doing. Just two things before you go. I'd like to know what's next, first of all, for you. And then, what do you want people to take away from this? What do you want people to take and have Jetset? Like, what do you want people to think about when they hear
So I'll start with, I guess, what's next. So it's crazy because, again, this being my first album that's out and my first headlining show, it just really leaves me craving more. Because
hunger.
This album was really, really well received. The show, it's one of those reassuring factors. We could do this. We could take it all the way. No pun intended. But you know what I mean. It's a crazy feeling that, bro. I have a feeling this venue's gonna be packed today, and who the fuck am I? You know what I mean. I got people taking work off. I got people. You're good. I got people coming that I haven't seen in years just come to the show. And it's cool. And it's who the fuck am I? If you're going to take work off, you got a confirmation, you got a religious thing, cool. You're sick, you got a fever in bed, sick. You know what I mean? You're taking work off to come see your boy because it's a special moment for me. And it's that's just really crazy to me. So, with that said, I definitely see a lot more of this, a lot more releases, a lot more consistency. And for the takeaway, just really I'm grateful to be given the position that I am in terms of having these opportunities, being able to do the tours, being able to do a show like this at home is crazy. And definitely there's more to come. But yeah, again, just grateful for all the opportunities that have been given.
He's hungry and he's humble. You know what I mean? No, seriously.
You guys gassed me up way too much, eh?
No. We were more than fortunate to be able to get the time that we had from Jetset. So thank you again for coming in.
Anytime. No, I appreciate you guys.
As
thank
you can
you guys
see,
so much.
Greenroom Flex, it's a busy
Greenroom
place.
Flex is the best flex.
It's a busy place.
100%. We got the whole team up in here.
Jetset's about to go kill his set.
Have to.
Thank you again for having
100%.
us.
100%. Thank you guys for coming by.
You do so much for the city. I can't see, why we wouldn't cross paths again with something.
100%.
I do the music thing too, So it's I'm gonna need a stage sometime in the future.
I like it. There's always room.
Yeah,
always
of course.
room.
Thanks again for coming in.
100%, brother.
Sunday's best podcast, Greenroom Flex.